In terms of the cocktails, now, we go to a lot of bars, we go to a lot of restaurants. What are they doing? Do you think it's gone maybe too far at some places where they get where they overcomplicating things just for the sake of overcomplicating it?
I think so, yeah. I kind of like to draw a parallel. Do you remember Nouvelle Cuisine?
Yeah.
California cuisine.
Right.
So you had a 15-inch white plate, almost flat. You had 12 colored dots around 2 sea scallops. This was your main course. And you're saying, well, where's the leek in the carrot? Well, the leek is that dot. The carrot is this dot. It was completely ridiculous, And, it was a very awkward beginning for what has become an extraordinary culinary explosion with really great food and plenty of it. But I think in the flush of all this knowledge, the craft bartenders, so heady with all their new knowledge, wanted to share it with the guests, and the guests, frankly, didn't give a crap. They really wanted to have fun, and they didn't want somebody telling them how they made their, syrup of rosemary and mango, and break it down for them, and spend 15 minutes making 4 drinks. There was an awkward time for us as well. But I think we've gotten past it. I see a lot of bartenders realizing that they have to carry vodka. In fact, because people want it.
Right.
They do have to make a Cosmopolitan or a Malibu Bay Breeze once in a while for people if they want it. If they want to be in business and actually make money. A little speakeasy with 16 seats is great. You'll never make money. You'll never make a living. I'm sorry to say. Right. It was fun for a while when you were getting started in the business, but at a certain point you're going to have a family and you got to make a buck. Sure. So you're going to have 150 seats, and you're going to have to make stuff that people like. I like to tell young bartenders that, okay, you're going to make that craft bar, because a friend of mine did it in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and he opened this craft bar. It wasn't even open yet. It was in there. It was like 4 o'clock. He was putting the finishing touches on this place. Like 12 hard-hatted construction workers. Hey, new joint, huh? What do you guys got? You got Coors Light in cans? Come back tomorrow. We're just opening it. Tomorrow we're opening officially. Come back, we'll have the Coors Light in cans. He's no dummy. 12 guys walk in and want Coors Light in cans? You goddamn right. So what he did is, for the next year and a half during this construction project, his first 2 hours from 4 until 6 were these guys spending $250 on Coors Light in cans. Right. That's a pretty good start for every night, even though at night he started to do his craft cocktail stuff. I say to young bartenders, let the neighborhood tell you what you're going to do. Do your thing, but don't discourage the neighborhood when they come in. Welcome them. You chose that neighborhood. These are your customers.
Yeah, I guess it's a difference from being like the Brandy Library in Tribeca versus being, in a neighborhood bar in Brooklyn.
In Manhattan, you can get specialized.
Yes, because there's enough people.
There's enough people that can buy into your particular brand. But, you may have to open 5 restaurants to make the money one guy can make with a big restaurant where he serves everybody, So I think, we have gotten a little bit past that, and people are finally back to providing service. And not just providing a lecture with every 15-minute round of drinks.
Right, or in a restaurant where you're getting, the cheese plate. And you want to know what cow it was and what kind of grass they ate. It's like, can I eat now?
Some people want to know that, and okay,
that's fine. Yeah,
but
once in a while,
90% of people don't want to know that.
No, it's okay. It's nice if the cow was happy, but it doesn't really matter.
Was there music playing when these were fermenting? No.
What's it called? Oh, I had a question about the whiskey bar. What is it? Notes?
Notes, yes.
Yeah, I didn't quite get. This is not a criticism. The selection is great. I like whiskey, and I've probably had over 200 different varieties of whiskey.
Sitting around the little table?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
How's that going to work? Is it someone guiding you through a tasting? Or is it just you sit down and order a flight? Or?
Well, we took the approach that the guests can really do whatever they want to do.
Okay.
Right? And the way we approached it is like we have prepared a tasting mat. So we serve every single whiskey what you order in. We serve it neat.
Okay.
You also get a glass. Right? The glass is sort of rounded on the bottom. So the idea is the ship rocks, the whiskey rocks, and hopefully you get some notes from the whiskey, right? Hence the name, Notes.
Mm-hmm.
And also to go with the music theme, right? And you also get your glass of whiskey, so you can, pour a little bit of your neat whiskey together with the ice cube, or a couple of ice cubes, And then you also get served Fiji water, which is extremely soft, as you know, and it's really the perfect match to go along with the whiskey, right? So you can also dilute your whiskey once you have it neat on the rocks. You can also dilute the whiskey and get the flavor profile. So that was the idea behind it.
Okay. Are you doing that on other ships, or this is the first ship you're doing it?
This was the first ship where we did it, but it was so successful actually, or the response was so good from the guests that we actually did like a mini version on the Koningsdam as well in our gallery bar.
Okay.
And well, here we have a selection of 140 different whiskeys on
which is much more than I've seen on other ships. Usually it's, you put in a little bit to maybe attract a different kind of client, maybe like a Lafroig or something like that. This is probably the widest variety I've seen on a ship.
Yeah.
Because usually, you're catering towards, I guess, you don't want to exclude anybody, but you want to, I don't know exactly how to say it, but, you want to keep it so there's enough variety for everyone.
Yeah.
But this seems to cater more to someone that's a little more interested in whiskey than the normal or average person.
Well, we wanted that because, again, for us it's not just the cruising. We want to immerse the guests and also educate the guests.
Yeah,
How people want to learn, right? So I think it's a perfect opportunity. And doing that, it's really funny when you go down there and you look at the dynamics of the entire bar. It usually starts out like with a couple or 3-4 people sitting down, they start chatting, and another few people. It's strategically placed in a very good place on board the ship, but you see people stopping by, they start talking, and it becomes that hub, and you really draw in, to my surprise, there was a lot of female customers as well who start approaching whiskey. Like even yesterday, one of the couples, she said like, I usually only drink vodka, but this looks like a lot of fun, so let me try some. So.
Is this something that, like, it was asked for by customers? Do you do surveys, or?
No,
or it's just you're looking at the trends and say, why don't we try this?
We looked at trends, and actually I can also tell you it wasn't planned from the very beginning, so we pretty much put that one out in, like, I would say in a 6-month period before we launched the ship, because originally we thought we were just going to have an automatic wine machine there, where people can serve their own wine, and the more we thought with the key cards, and the more we thought about it, the more we thought it's actually way more fun with whiskey. And when the idea was presented, I said like I want to go and run with it, and Francisco did a fantastic job in putting it all together. So
okay, nice. Yeah, look, I haven't tried it yet. It's on my list.
You gotta come.
It's on my list of things to do.
You gotta come.
Well, another thing I can add on that is that we have set up a menu that basically administers via iPads. So, and we have done a pretty good job in that. Is where if you would go through our menu, it's basically broken down in every way that you want to slice it and dice it, like information. Whether you want to go and check whether smoked whiskies or peated whiskies, single malts, whether you want to just segregate them by pricings, or you want to just look at the tasting notes, where they come from, what does the picture look like. So it's kind of an educational thing while you sit down and you would browse through those iPads.
Okay, so it's not a preset flight. You can pretty much do whatever you want.
The flights are preset, but the whole concept itself, you can basically have a good...
So if you want to go from maybe lightly spicy to more spicy, or if you want to go lightly smoked to more intensely smoked, however you want to do it.
Yeah.
Or if you want to just go around the world.
Yeah. Sure. And then the real cool thing is as well, you find your whiskey, you can even email yourself the tasting notes and send to your friends. That's what you're having, so it's like a little bit interactive, educational, and it just ties it all together.
Okay, nice. I like it. I'll have to try it out. What was my next question? Oh, with regards to cocktails, they do. I've seen beer pairings with food. I've seen wine pairings with food. Usually, most people I think of a cocktail either a before dinner drink or an after dinner drink. Do you think that there's a trend that it might go towards more cocktails with food?
Yeah, I think that is an absolute trend right now. The idea that started as tapas and small bites and wine has now, there is a new business plan. I was just talking about it in a class with the bartenders upstairs. For young people trying to get into business without a big investment, there are lots of these small bites and cocktail places. So you don't have a kitchen, you don't have a chef, you don't have 6 waiters, you have 2 cocktail waitresses, you have a pantry, you have a cook, and then you have the bartenders. And you serve interesting small dishes that you can make in a pantry or bring in from the outside, as Audrey Saunders does at Pegu Club, and you match them with really interesting drinks that are culinary driven anyway, because now they're all the same ingredients that you find in the kitchen herb gardens are ending up in cocktails.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, the thing about cocktail bars these days is that they're really not prepared physically to serve the kinds of drinks that we're serving in them. We're still using these 19th century flat top bars with their refrigerators. What we need is a garde manger station.
Yeah.
We need refrigerated drawers. We need someplace to put all these crazy fruits and vegetables and herbs and spices and everything. And we don't have that in these old-fashioned bars. And I think it's time for somebody to really... Well, Salvatore Calabrese has done it in London with his refrigerated drawers and some of his new design sink. He's in fact added culinary sort of garde manger approach to his bar. So I think food and the cocktail is definitely a thing. You see it with young professionals in the big cities where they're grazing from cocktail bar to cocktail bar on really interesting food.
Right.
and small cocktails, not big cocktails, small cocktails.
Like, I guess like they would do in, I mean, I've never done it. I've been to Milan a couple times. I have family there. But, someone told me, oh, well, there's a whole cocktail hour where you go, you get, you'll have a Negroni, or you'll have a Negroni sbagliato, or you'll have all these different drinks, and just a lot of little bites of food.
And you'll get the charcuterie and cheese and all kinds of stuff.
Or maybe some pasta or whatever it is, but they're all small plates.
Yep.
And from an operator's perspective, the business owner, it's obviously fantastic, because if you do what they just described, you're also keeping your labor down, right?
Absolutely, your labor down, your construction, all your opening build out is like a tenth of what it would be if you were making a true restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great way to get into the business, and you're serving mostly stuff that has the highest, the lowest cost of sales.
Okay.
So it's really smart. And I was just talking about it because we were going over the Blood and Sand. We were going over the Tommy's Margarita. We're going over the Yuzu Margarita. 3 drinks that are really food friendly. The Yuzu Margarita in Tamarind, this restaurant over here, would be brilliant. We're going to try to put it in, I think. It would be a really great idea. Right? It's got fresh yuzu juice. All you do is you make a margarita, you put a tablespoon of yuzu juice in it. Suddenly it's a new drink, and it tastes like the food. Mm-hmm. Or the Blood and Sand, which is a very meat-friendly drink. I know this is going to sound crazy. Orange juice, scotch, sweet vermouth, and cherry herring. Mm-hmm. But equal parts, shaken very hard, served up with an orange peel over the top. It's an absolutely brilliant drink.
It's delicious.
And it tastes...
And this goes back. This is an old drink.
It's a very old drink. It was created for Rudolph Valentino's movie of the same name about bullfighting in the silent era. And it has gone on to become a drink that appeared in most of the classic cocktail books after that. Yeah. A drink that is so food friendly for meat dishes, venison, anything with a fruit sauce on it, game dishes. It's a brilliant combination. It's almost better than wine, But I think I protest a little too much. But none of this stuff that we did at the Rainbow Room, the cocktail dinners, which we did over the 90s, none of that was intended to try to tell the guests that we're trying to change the way people dine. No, we did it for the fun of it, because the chef and I wanted to play. Plus, it was a way to get 150 people into a private room and make some money. Yeah. I would hit up all my liquor salesmen to get a table of 10 to say, well, come on now, we've been supporting you, you support us, right? We'll use your brands, and buy up a table 10.
That's the way it works.
And it really turned out to be. We bring in guest chefs for each of the courses. It was just great fun. And then when I wrote Craft of the Cocktail, I cobbled together a book tour. Bacardi paid for my travel because I used their brands. Kimpton paid for my hotel rooms because I did training classes for their bartenders, and I did cocktail dinners with their chef.
Nice.
And that's how I cobbled together a free book tour for the Craft of the Cocktail. And it was about doing cocktail dinners at each stop. And no one had ever done that stuff back in 2002. Only us at the Rainbow Room in the 90s. No one was doing cocktail dinners. They were doing cigar dinners, and all kind of other dinners. But
which is going to kill you. I mean, I know. I like
so
cigars,
silly,
but they just totally kill your palate, and you can't eat anything.
Charlie Trotta wouldn't.
At least I can't.
He wouldn't serve cocktails in his restaurant, Charlie. Okay. He only one. He said cocktails kills the palate. I disagreed with Charlie on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's all everyone. They all kind of play off each other. It's like you have a meal. We went to a couple of restaurants in Philadelphia, which is where I'm at. We'll sit there with some friends and we'll have and it's a BYO. so we'll have like 2-3 bottles of wine, and then it's like, all right, well, was the food amazing, or did we just drink so much that everything just tasted better? And plus, I mean, you're having a good time. You know, you're with your friends, you're laughing, and at that point, it doesn't really matter.
Well,
it's more of an experience than anything else.
Or a bitter drink gets your stomach rumbling. That's the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
You know, really. And to take that a step further and do something with one of the courses. I mean, you know, now that Tales of the Cocktail has become a huge international festival, they have been doing spirited dinners. Mm-hmm. You know, we started in the beginning by just always getting together and having cocktails at a dinner at Chef Duke's place, you know, when it was a Southern Comfort event. But when it turned into this big deal, and thought, okay, we'll carry it. We'll celebrate the restaurants of New Orleans. Antoine's. I did cocktail dinners at Antoine's, at Galatoire's, at Commander's Palace. I did these wonderful, wonderful cocktail dinners with this incredible food, you know, with all these great chefs.
Did Tales of the Cocktails come out of the start of the the Museum of the American Cocktail?
No. That's the opposite.
They're not related. Or was the other way around?
It's the opposite. Tales started as a Southern Comfort Brown Forman event, and they hired Anne because she was a local to officiate this event to celebrate the idea that Southern Comfort had come from a saloon in New Orleans back in the 1880s, where a guy bought whiskey in barrels and he would take the bung out and throw in peaches and spices.
Okay, how much of it is true?
It was called Cuff and Buttons. No, it really was. It was called Cuff and Buttons, and that thing, Cuff and Buttons, was taken by the Brown Foreman, Jack Daniels people, and turned into a bottled cocktail called Southern Comfort.
Okay.
Now, of course, Southern Comfort has become flavored grain alcohol. It's not quite as sexy as it was in the beginning, but they wanted to have a home place. They bought a building down on Decatur Street for a lot of money. A 4-story building. There was going to be a museum, a kitchen, a bar. Tony was going to run the bar. They were getting Chef Duke to run the kitchen. We were going to install the museum, the American Cocktail, on one of the floors, but they wanted us to use only Brown Forman products, so that didn't work. You know, we ended up going a totally different direction. But then when Katrina hit, they pulled out. And there was a lawsuit between Anne and the Brown Forman Company. She ended up owning the name Tales of the Cocktail, which they had owned for their Southern Comfort event. And that's how that story. Brown Forman, needless to say, does not participate in Tales of the Cocktail, and never has since that day. But Anne has done very well with it.
Okay. Here's a question. All right, so. Yeah, you watch a lot of.
See, when you ask me a question, you're in trouble because I'm going to give you
a long
You're only going to get 3 questions in a whole interview here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, I don't want to do a bunch of yes and no's either.
I'm kidding.
So, I watch a lot of chef shows. Anthony Bourdain's one of them, and they do a lot of shows where they'll have chefs after hours. Once they're done work, they're tired of working in the kitchen. They wind up at like a noodle joint. They wind up at like a pho restaurant or a sushi restaurant. Where do bartenders go when they're done? Or you're so exhausted that it's pretty much
no, not at all. As a matter of fact, I went to the same place the chefs did when I got off at 2 a.m. at the Rain Room. We would go to Blue Ribbon on Sullivan Street in Greenwich Village. Blue Ribbon was a brother and sister and a cousin. They created a restaurant of stuff that they liked. So it was really an eclectic menu. They had everything from a poo-poo platter to what do you put the skewers in the hot cheese? What do you call it?
Fondue.
Fondue to Thai fish soup to steak. You name it. It was a crazy menu, but everybody loved it. And the best thing is they served dinner right up till 4 a.m. You could order dinner at 4 a.m. Even if you couldn't order a drink after that, they would stay open till 5 with the bar closed, and you could finish your dinner. So every chef, every bartender in town, because it was a 4 o'clock in the morning town, we all got there, as soon as we could after our shift, so we could order dinner and hang out. So it was an after midnight hangout for years, and then they opened one in Brooklyn. And that's where my cocktail dinner idea came from. I was sitting there. This was my regular routine. I'd walk in, order a Lagavulin. I'd order the Thai fish soup. When I finish my Lagavulin, I have an Alsatian Gewürztraminer to go with my Thai fish soup. And then I go home. So this time, there was a new waiter. I ordered my Lagavulin, and then the fish came. The soup came. And I'm like, skip the wine. So I'm drinking the Lagavulin. Now, they had smoked fish in their Thai fish. Thai fish soup is spicy, too. And I'm drinking the Lagavulin, I'm tasting the smoked fish, and I'm going, get out of here.
They go nice.
This is incredible. And that's what made me start thinking. I went to the chef, and I said, what do you think? It was like 1992. And it came out of the Blue Ribbon, which was all of our hangout.
That's when Lagavulin was $45
Most of them want to go to a place that's open.
That's true.
Yeah, and several of the places also do like the industry night, right? So to stay open for the people where you can go. So I think it has become more and more popular.
You'll see that on weekends.
Well,
Guys will stay open a little later than the other bartenders, so they can get that business. You know.
So what do you drink when you're not if you're not having a cocktail or a glass of wine?
Lagavulin.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is it Lagavulin? I mean, is that like is that a favorite?
No, I have a what's that? Is it? No, I have a pretty eclectic. I mean, mostly I'm a gin martini drinker if I'm just doing session drinking and having a cocktail before dinner. But having said that, when I'm traveling, wherever I am, I'm in New Orleans, I'm not drinking martinis, I'm drinking Vocarés, you know, I'm drinking whatever the house.
Sazerac, whatever.
Right. Vocaré in the Monteleone, Sazerac, and Tujacs, or some of the other places. You know, if I'm in Barbados, I'm drinking that. If I'm in Cuba, I'm drinking rum. If I'm in wherever I am, I'm going to go that route. But I like everything. I mean, I'm a Scotch drinker, and I drink different kinds of Scotch for different times of night, you know.
Understand. And you?
Well, my favorite cocktail is the Negroni, right?
Okay.
And I like the different versions of it, you know, really having fun with that, and obviously through notes as well, you know, a lot with whiskeys now. So.
Okay.
Negroni has just taken off, hasn't it? My God,
it has.
Everybody's drinking Negroni.
And I only had one a couple years ago.
It's so good, you know.
I had my first one maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Well, what's bizarre is literally, I want to say 10 years ago, nobody drank Negroni.
Well, it's funny because we were on a Disney cruise ship a couple years ago, and I was in the Italian restaurant, and I asked him for a Negroni, and the waitress said, I don't know what it is. So I'm telling
Disney.
Well, still, but I mean, it's
should have asked for a soda.
But it's the upcharge Italian restaurant. You would think, you know, they would have a little bit more, but it was so. But I told the woman how to do it. She was like, okay. So no problem. So they brought it up.
I
had it. So it was good. It worked out pretty well. Nice. Last question.
You won't miss it here because we have it even featured on the restaurant Canaletto, which is an Italian.
Okay.
And we have it even featured on the menu there.
What's different about this Negroni versus? Is it a particular vermouth use?
Capano Antica. That's what we use.
Okay.
It's a really.
That's for me. That makes the drink. That
That's
makes
good.
the drink. Capano Antica.
Okay. It's a little on the sweet side, but it's good.
It's got that vanilla note to it.
Yeah,
I love
it
that.
works.
That's why I like it.
Yeah.
If you had to pick between that and let's say Punta Mes, which would you go with? Or it just
Punta
depends.
Mes is the same company, and it's just a little spicier. It hasn't got that strong vanilla note that the Carpano Formula Antico has.
Right.
But I use Punta Mes in Manhattans more than I would in Negroni.
Okay.
It makes an interesting Manhattan.
Would you go with rye or you go with bourbon? Or?
Rye. Yeah, I'm a rye guy.
Okay.
Well, it's New York. New York was a rye town. You know?
Okay.
We were closer to Maryland than we were to Kentucky.
Makes sense.
It's really easier.
Just one last question. One last one. I told you we get samples every once in a while. So the last thing we got was a beet spirit made by a little distillery outside of Philadelphia in Lansdale called Boardroom Spirits. They're pretty new. So it was 100% beets. It's about 90 proof. So I reviewed it and it was pretty good. I mean, it smells just like fresh roasted beets. I mean, there's nothing masked. It's almost like it's somewhere between a vodka and a gin.
So it's grain alcohol flavored with beets?
No, I think it's made from beets. I don't exactly know the story. I was supposed to go to the distillery.
You might be shocked to hear that their beets is so big in France. It goes back to the Napoleonic era when he had a little difficulty with Haiti and they couldn't get sugarcane, so he started planting and made forced farmers to plant beets. So there's big beet plantations. And now in France, Cointreau, all the Combier products, most of the liqueurs, except for the fruit ones, where they like Merlot, where they go right to the fruit. High proof beet alcohol, very pure, very well made, is the basis of all those things I just mentioned.
Interesting. Of what, the Grand Marnier?
Cointreau.
Really?
All the Combier orange liqueurs.
That leads to my question. So we're trying this. I'm like, all right, it's good, but we're thinking maybe we'll try a cocktail. So I'm playing around. Maybe it was just like last Saturday night. So I took 2 ounces of the beet spirit. I added 1/3 of an ounce of Grand Marnier and 1/3 of an ounce of grenadine, shaken, and then just a little orange peel, a little rosemary. I don't know what to call it.
Farm to table. What was in it? Say it again.
So it was the beet spirit, Grand Marnier, grenadine, a little bit of orange, a little bit of rosemary. Because in my head I'm thinking beet salad.
It's kind of a daisy kind of. Have you ever the old category of daisies?
No, I haven't.
They had fruit and strong spirits. You know,
okay.
things, 19th century category, and a little bit of lemon juice or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So remember, you could call it, go back to that old category and put it in the daisy category. Interestingly, the word margarita is translated to daisy.
Oh, is it?
So there's a lot of people that think that the margarita was a Mexican version of an older cocktail made in the United States called the daisy, a category, I mean. The beet spirit I was talking about has no flavor and no aroma at all. You don't get any beet from it.
Really?
It is 196 proof, and it is a base.
Okay, so it's just a grain neutral
In other
spirit.
words, those orange liqueurs put their botanicals in there, and their sweet, bitter orange peels, dried peels in there, and leave them, and then they rectify it, and then they sweeten it. So what I'm talking about is people that are using, like we would buy ethanol from Archer Daniels Midland to make liqueurs or to make Tito's vodka, because now he can't make it all in his little tiny distillery. We buy ethanol and we do lots of stuff with it. This is like their version of that. They have more beet spirit than they have grain spirit. So all those French liqueurs and things are based on as a base, but you won't get any beet character. You're talking about a spirit that's probably still, if it's made directly from the beet sugar, there's enough of the congeners. It's probably only coming off the still at 120.
Well,
So there's still tons of beet flavor in there.
Okay.
So it's like beet whiskey in a sense, you know, in a weird sense.
Yeah, I mean the smell was, it was just like a fresh roasted beet.
Yeah.
The flavor was a little different. It was a little lemon, a little bit of herbs. You still get that beet though. That still comes through.
I'm one of those people, like with cilantro. There's 1/3 of the world that doesn't like cilantro because it tastes like bleach, and there's 1/3 of the world that doesn't like beets because they taste like dirt.
Right.
And there's actually a chemical in beets that makes them taste like dirt for some people. It's more in us than it is in it. But I was in Dan Warner's restaurant up there in the old Rockefeller Barns at the old Rockefeller Farm called Stone Hill, Stone Farm, whatever it's called. And it's a total farm to table, 18-20 courses. Like the first 10 courses, you don't even have flatware. It's all on sticks and on trees, and it's all vegetables.
Where is this?
Dan Warner up at the Rockefeller old dairy barn up in just north of the city.
Oh, okay. Hudson River Valley.
What's that?
Is it up in the Hudson River Valley?
Yeah. It's called Blue Hill at Stone Farm. Blue Hill at Stone Farm.
Okay.
And it's wildly expensive, this place. You don't want to go. We didn't realize how expensive it was.
Unless I can get a freebie out.
There were 3 of us. It was like, our bill was, with the wine pairings and everything, came to, $400 each.
Good.
Yeah. But anyway, Dan came over to the table at one point because we hadn't met. We introduced each other. He came over to the table because I refused the beet course. And he says, I see you didn't order. And I said, well, it tastes like dirt to me. He said, it's really funny that you mentioned that. We have a table in the house. They're food scientists and they work on a farm in Wisconsin. And they're doing all kinds of different crazy experiments, and they're here because of what we do. And there's a woman, I think she'd be interested if I sent you a plate of beets, and I wanted you to taste the different beets on the plate and tell me if there's any one of those beets that you can eat. And since you're one of those people that doesn't like beets, I said, sure, do it. Yeah, go ahead. So they send me like a red, yellow, different colored beets. And I tasted them all, and then I got to one that tastes more cucumbery and less beety. It didn't have the dirt. Well, 20, 30 minutes went by, and this woman comes over to the table, and she goes, you've just validated 3 years of my work, she said. I've been trying to husband a beet from cross plant husbandry. I've been trying to get a beet that doesn't have the chemical, that basically tastes like dirt to 1/3 of the population, and you just validated my work.
Yeah.
So she's trying to produce a beet that doesn't taste like beets.
It's odd.
It
It tastes like an orange. It tastes like an orange. It's like, what?
Exactly.
Makes no sense to me, but that's okay.
It has the other elements of beet, texture, everything about it, color. It just doesn't have that chemical that makes it taste kind of dirty to us, some of us.
So did we come up with a name?
So naming the drink, I would go to the daisy category.
The daisy category. All right, I'll look at it. I'll do a little research.
Beet daisy.
Okay. Well, thank you.
B-E-A-T.
I think that's it. Thank you very much.